Video 4, I'm on a rant. I'm just talking things out. So one thing that Darren says in his interview with George is, in our training, he's like, show me your hands. He slipped it. And you should saw the look on his face. Because I believe at some point his hands are raised. That only makes sense. Darren said in the interview too many times. And he also said it in this transcript that I'm concerned with his hands. What is he doing with his hands? A police officer is concerned with, what are you doing with your hands? It's your hands that will, somebody's hands is going to end up hurting you. Absolutely. So it would make sense to see, let me see your hands. Get your hands up. Show me your hands. Darren says also in the interview with George, he says, I thought he was going to get down. Why? Because his hands were raised. What's the next step? Once the hands are raised, it's like, get on the ground. But what's happening in here, that's very... Shots are being fired in this area. But they're not being fired to his back. So at some point, he turns around. His hands are raised. What drops his hands? Because he was shot in the arm, man. And the thing is this. I didn't look at the autopsy report, but I was saying, okay, what drops his hands? Something drops the man's hands. Because I'm saying that the man's hands, I'm seeing it. His hands are raised, and people believe that. But I'm saying, what would drop his hands? He got shot in the arm. Now the question is, that's high. To get shot in the arm is a high shot. Were you aiming for his head, or were you trying to aim away from him? Meaning, because this is the thing, if you're trying to preserve life, I'm trying to say, if his hands are raised and I'm afraid, I might shoot to the side and say, get down on the ground. But you end up hitting his arm. Remember, the last shot is hitting him in the head. Or are you aiming for his head? See, that's where a lawyer or a judge should... That's the question of whether it's a deliberate action to kill, or whether you're trying to get him down, shoot to the side, and it ends up hitting his arm and it drops to the side. Someone can debate this as well. Because even when George was talking to Darren, and he says it's kind of an odd thing to run with your arm in your waistband. And Darren is basically saying he was going for something. I don't know. It's the unknown. What's there? But he didn't try to attack you before with it. It's because you have to know, and I believe that you shot him in the arm, whether it's intentional or not, meaning if you're aiming for the head and it goes to the arm, or you're trying to deflect the shot and it shoots him in the heart and it comes down. The natural reaction would be to clutch the arm. At that point, now you have to put yourself in Michael's situation, and anybody. You have to reasonably believe you're going to be killed. What do you do? And it's all to somebody's personality. It really is. Does somebody run? Does he turn around and run and then be shot in the back? Does he move forward? It's to someone's personality. I believe that this brings the arm down. He hits the arm, and then he moves forward. At this point, and this goes to whether being that close to him, and whether you were aiming for the head and it moved to the left and ended up hitting his arm, or whether you were intentionally shooting to the side, that drops the arm to move forward. But I believe his arms were raised. I can see it, man. This is my belief. And then you have a man that has been shot before. Has been shot and is moving forward, and then you have the cause to shoot him, and they shoot high again and end up killing him. My thing is this: you're contemplating whether to kill him prior to this confrontation. So, somebody can debate back and forth. Were his hands raised? Did it get shot in the arm? He moves his arm down, or you're saying that that's not in your narrative. You know what I mean? And I can understand why. I mean, you don't want his arms up. If his arms are up and doing that, you get in trouble. And this is a sad situation now.